Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. It's percolating. Good morning. Yeah. Good morning to the people on Facebook. Good morning to the people on IG. Good morning to the people on the YouTube. Good morning to the people on LinkedIn and Twitter too. Java. Percolating. Get a vibe, stay ready. Truth in the cup, keep it strong, keep it steady. Pull up a chair, yeah, take a sip with me. Good morning, good people. Java with Jimmy. Good morning. Good morning. Yeah, the love percolating. Love percolating. Java with Jimmy. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Good morning. Yeah, the love percolating. Yeah, Java with Jimmy. Good morning. Percolating. Yeah, we in it. Yeah, we in it. Good morning. Good morning. Java with Jimmy. Percolating. Yeah, we in it. Yeah, we in it. Good morning. Good morning. Java with Jimmy.
Good morning. Welcome to the Java Cafe, Java fam.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Today is, let me turn this down. Today is Wednesday. I haven't messed up the date in a while, and I don't have it in the title. Today is Wednesday, February 25th, 2026. And you were in the Java Cafe this morning. I'm excited to bring my guests into the room. We have a very active senior population that are a key pillar here in the Java Cafe. And I just want to say I appreciate all the support, the Mothers Board and others. I really appreciate the support that you all bring. And today we are discussing something that I believe is very relevant, especially in the last couple of days, in reference to kind of being snowed in. I've mentioned that we're coming up on the anniversary of COVID, where we really experienced a lot of isolation. And a lot of time our seniors and others that either are dealing with comorbidities or have maybe they are persons with disabilities, they can use an increased level of companionship, someone with intentionality to just reach out to them, text, call, and to some extent even visit. And I know for caregivers, that may be an opportunity just for a half an hour or so to go sit in the car and chill, to go run an errand and things like that. Now, I will say, and I just, I know us as humans, this is not a program that is, I was going to say babysitting or senior sitting. And so we'll talk about what FriendshipWorks is. They're going to tell us in 2 minutes. I can't believe I got it right here. FriendshipWorks. I told one of my guests that I get nervous every day at about 9:59, so we're good. I am going to bring in a good friend, someone that I have been in community with, someone that I have had to reach out to. My mother may recognize his name here when he was with the city of Boston, but I was excited to hear. I was a little, I'm used to him being in a certain space and place when I need to reach out or just familiarity with them. But he is now an executive director. And I'm so when I heard that, I was so happy to hear that. So Kyle Robideau is with us. I want to make sure, as Kyle, the people in here often get on me because I am terrible at name pronunciation. So I am glad to have you here, brother. Welcome to the Java Cafe. Is this your first time on?
It is my first time on, so super excited.
I wasn't sure if we've had you on for housing or anything before. So Kyle, I'm going to go ahead and bring in your coworker, Martha Cedeno. I think I got that right. Did I get it right, Martha?
Yes, you did.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I'm glad to have both of you here. And so Kyle, I'm going to start with you. If you could greet the folks and say good morning. And also, if you, for us, via one word, just by your work there, just give us one word for the status of our elders and the population you serve when it comes to socialization, when it comes to, having, I'm thinking of a word like a pen pal or someone that, reaches out with intentionality to be a friend to them. If you could describe how our seniors are doing in that respect in one word at the end of your greeting, that would be great.
Sure. So, Jimmy, first, thank you so much for all that you do in community and lifting voices and issues all across Boston, but really appreciate the space that you hold as well. And yeah, so Kyle Robidoux, the executive director with FriendshipWorks, been in this role since May 1st. I have spent my entire professional career working either in nonprofits and then more recently 4 years in the mayor's office of housing in the Wu administration in the office of housing stability, helping prevent folks from being evicted and so forth. So I see this role as a continuation of my work, always working in community. I live in Roxbury, I play in Roxbury. So it's really exciting to be in this role. And one word for older adults, I think resilience.
And we'll get into the context of that in just a minute. And what I heard from you, because words matter, you said older adults rather than seniors. I know we moved away from the term elderly. We used, even the Age Strong Commission changed their name from Elder Services. And so thank you. Let's be very intentional about that. Our older adults. But in some cultures, elder is also a badge of honor. As well, but I want to be intentional in the general reference to our older adults. And so, who's your friend here with it, Kyle?
Yeah, I need to introduce Martha. Why don't you take it away, Martha? She is a rock star that is one of our friendly visiting coordinators, but I'm going to hand it over to her.
Martha.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you both. And thank you, Jimmy, for having us this morning. It's awesome to be here. So my name is Martha Cedeno Barnes. As Kyle said, I am a friendly visiting coordinator. I'll tell you all about that in just a minute. I've been part of this team for 2 years now, loving what I do. I grew up in the Dominican Republic, was born there, and then grew up down the road in Providence, Rhode Island, lived in Boston for a number of years. And then my wonderful husband took a job in Charlotte, North Carolina, and we were gone for 12 years. So FriendshipWorks has been a way for me to reconnect with my community. I live in Mattapan. Before that, we were in Hyde Park. So this is, I love serving. I love serving people who have so much left to give. And so we'll get into that later. But thank you for having us.
Absolutely. I love how you frame that. And so once again, I want to say to both of you, welcome to the Java Cafe. And I'm going to ask the audience to do me a favor and go ahead as we're welcoming you. Please hit that like and share button and invite others into the Java Cafe generally, but those that, maybe are older adults or also those that are caring for them and supporting them, because this is definitely some great and valuable information for our older adults. So I wanted to, Kyle, Martha kind of started telling a little bit just around her story and background. And so I'll come to you and ask you, you said a little bit as well in the professional career, but I also know, Kyle, this is like working, and I say this respectfully as a youth worker, I didn't want to work with any young people under the age of like 12, because working with that age is interesting, and it takes a special care to work with like populations like our veterans and also our older adults. And so I know you did not go there without having some passion. So a little bit about you, not so much the work, and then what led to you making this decision to support our older adults.
Certainly. And like you, I am a reformed or past youth worker. I've been always working in community as an organizer, an agitator, building affordable housing, advocating for affordable housing. And I feel like all members of our community need support and need to be lifted up. And for me, coming to FriendshipWorks, I was actually on the board for about 8 years, the last 4 as board president. And I first joined the board because I am actually legally blind and visually impaired, and they reached out to me to participate in a committee to figure out how to engage more older adults with vision loss through Friendship's work. And so I spent a year or 2 on that committee, was invited to the board, and now 8 years later, I made the transition from being on the board to this role as executive director. And I've always been really passionate about FriendshipWorks and their mission. And for me, it's a little bit about, as you mentioned, supporting our older adults, recognizing and honoring their tremendous commitments, and knowing that with a little bit of support and connections, they can continue to thrive in our communities. And I also look at it a little bit of paying it forward, knowing that we will all need some support down the road, and thinking about, my grandmother, my Grammy lived to the age of 102, and she benefited, and I could hear it in her voice every time I reached out and I called her. So I think it's really important to continue to engage and lift up and support the older adults in our community.
Absolutely. And I love when my guests make it easy to segue into a next question. And so, Martha, Kyle informing us that reference to older adults, and also you said something in your reference in your introduction around with a lot more to offer. I don't know if that was verbatim, but you referenced to the fact that like this is not a sort of sunset or whatever. Like a lot of our older adults do a lot of thriving. And, as a couple of years ago, someone referred to me and said, James, we forget that, you're approaching being an elder. And there is also a mental space where you come into your own. And sometimes that, people go separate ways and things like that. So having this component of supporting, even as our older adults are still evolving with, as you said, so much more to offer. So if you could tell us like your personal connection to this work, and then we're going to get in with you, Martha, and Kyle as well, into, what the mission is, what you all do and what you don't do. And so Martha, I'll come to you now.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I think as a woman of a certain age with adult children, I can tell you that every stage of life has there are challenges attached to that, but there's also all this beauty and this found awareness and freedom and just comfort in being in your own skin, and knowing something's in your knower that maybe in a previous season of your life, you kind of you were looking for validation from somewhere else outside of yourself, but you kind of find that as we progress. And this idea that the aging process has to be this terrible, detrimental, slow descent into childlike stage is faulty. Even as people may struggle with physical limitations, even as the body begins to break down, there's still so much to give and to share of yourself. And so as someone who was born in the Dominican Republic, and coming from a culture, values, and finds ways to honor older adults, I've always had a natural inclination, kind of respect. And earlier you mentioned, the words matter. And yes, some people want to be addressed as an elder, as that kind of respect. But what I'm finding out, that is really about the heart and the attitude that we approach people with. Even for those older adults who don't want to be called ma'am, because you're crossing a line if you call me ma'am, still, the way I show up in that conversation and in that relationship demands a level of respect and honor that is due. And so I have experience working, navigating the world with older adults, but I'm here to tell you, I'm still learning. There's still so much to learn on how to do it. And the truth is that everybody's different, right? And we can talk about a little bit about how we train volunteers, but we talk about intersectionality and how we have to really take the time to get to know people for who they are. And the way they navigate the world. But I've been working with volunteer management for many years. That's what I did. Those 12 years I was in Charlotte, I was leading a team of volunteers. And honestly, I am energized by people and being in relationship with people who, in spite of all that is happening in the world, and there's a lot happening in the world that is concerning, there are people who make room and make time in their lives to give back, to be a force of good in the world. And so whether that is showing up to do a single activity as a volunteer, or if for people who are showing up consistently week after week for months to volunteer, being a force of good in the world matters. And so for me, in a very selfish kind of way, it's what energizes me. And so this is why I'm here.
Absolutely. And I'm glad to hear that connection to why you do the work. Kyle, let's talk about the actual work. What is the mission? And I know there's, a good mission is about 2 sentences that captures everything. But in your own words, Kyle, what is the mission? You were on the board for 8 years. You transitioned to now, you used to guide the leader. Now you are the leader. So from your 8 months there, wow, 8 years on the board, and then just about 8 months there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so in that 8 and 8, by your, just in Kyle's layman's words, what is the mission of FriendshipWorks?
I think one, it's important to state, we've been around for 41 years, and we work all throughout the city of Boston, Cambridge, Somerville, Newton, and Brookline. And at the end of the day, it's really simple. We are creating meaningful connections with older adults to help reduce their social isolation and loneliness. And we do this, as Martha mentioned, through volunteerism. We have about 600 volunteers who are working with older adults. We also do it through a Pet Pals program, as well as a MusicWorks program. So those two programs are building based, whereas our Friendly Helping, Visiting, and Medical Escort programs are one-to-one volunteer based. So we're activating, creating intergenerational opportunities for volunteers to support older adults, and really trying to create simple friendships and meaningful connections to support older adults leading and thriving in their community.
Two of the major things that you said there that stood out to me was the medical escort, because I'm learning as we're talking. You mentioned medical escort or accompanying, and then also the music one. And then Martha, will come to you for the others, and also how folks can volunteer. So Kyle, can you again, in explaining those two components, and especially with the medical escort, and maybe a little bit of the in-home too,
mm-hmm.
What is it exactly? What is it? What it isn't? I don't know if I'm saying that right. Tell us what it is so we can manage expectations as people looking to tap into resources. And then one of the resources we'll share with folks is how they can volunteer to be a part of this.
Mm-hmm. Certainly. So medical escort, it's really mobilizing a volunteer to accompany an older adult to a medical appointment. So they don't necessarily provide the transportation, they accompany the older adult. And the beauty of it is that it starts from their home to the medical appointment, into the medical appointment. They stay through it. If the older adult wants to invite them into the appointment, they can do that, but they don't have to. And then they reverse the trip back to their home. And we know that through medical escort, it reduces the likelihood of someone canceling their appointment. It reduces the anxiety and the nervousness they have around navigating, whether it's getting to the appointment, getting inside the hospital, and getting to that doctor appointment. So we know that by reducing people's likelihood to cancel their appointments, it's really empowering older adults to age more healthily in their community, because if you miss one appointment, then maybe you miss your second appointment, and now you may be looking at an ER or a critical care visit. So our volunteers are incredible in that way. And even from personal experience with my vision loss, I get my care at Boston Medical Center. There's probably a dozen buildings at BMC. I have no idea which building I have to get to, how to get in there. And then once I find the building, I have to find the office. So thankfully, you know, I have my wife who accompanies me a lot, but I understand like that sense of anxiety and needing someone to accompany me to these appointments. And that's what we're doing, this really rich yet simple experience for volunteers to support older adults in going to these medical appointments. And, you know, so that's the kind of the one-to-one model, and Martha can talk a little bit more about the friendly visiting. But for FriendshipWorks, it's a little bit more community-based. So we are in about 17 senior affordable buildings, permanent independent living buildings all throughout Boston and Brookline. And we pay professional musicians once a month or twice a month to go to these buildings. They set up in their community room and they play music for an hour, sometimes 2 hours. It's a mix of originals, it's call and response, it's interactive games, it's music bingo. But the goal is really to encourage folks to get out of their apartment into community room. They then have the opportunity to network and meet their neighbors. They interact with the building residential services staff, so they have an increased opportunity to connect to services. And then we also just know, much like the intro to your show, how much joy and how much movement music brings to our lives. So we're really trying to leverage that music and sense of joy to encourage folks to come down, move a little bit, and connect with others.
I am so glad to hear that. And I just want to acknowledge we have a musician, a well-known musician and artist in the city that is inquiring. And so, Brother Leon, we're going to share how you can contact friend. And I've been saying it wrong. FriendshipWorks. FriendshipWorks, not friendships work. FriendshipWorks. So, Leon, I'll definitely make sure we share that information, how to contact Kyle and Martha. And so, Martha, thank you for getting ready to go into the other services. There was the visitation program and I think one other one. So if you could tell us about those, that would be great.
Yeah, so let me begin with the other program group-based option, that is Pet Pals. We have designated sites, as Kyle mentioned, communities that are servicing older adults, and we have become part of their program in the larger program. But this is a program where a volunteer who has a pet, mostly dogs, although we've had cats too, can become a team, a visiting team, and they can bring the joy of a pet, the sweetness that happens when you see a cute dog and you can pet him, to those nursing homes and other sites around the city. So if you have a dog, we don't really work with puppies because they need to be, some development needs to happen. There are opportunities. And by the way, we have a brand new team member with tons of experience who've just stepped into that role. So we are very excited about the Pet Pals program. Visit the website if you're thinking that this might be a good option for you and your pet. Now, let me talk about the flagship program, the Friendly Visiting Program. This is the program where a volunteer signs up, commits to serving anywhere between 9 to 12 months with a single individual, with a single program participant. Think of me as a matchmaker, a platonic matchmaker at that. So don't get any wrong ideas here. But what we do is we find and match older adults with a volunteer based on a number of factors, personalities, hobbies, and you name it. And we match them together for weekly visits. The idea and the hope is that over time, as people build trust, as people get to know each other, a real friendship can evolve. So the volunteer becomes a reliable presence in somebody's life. This is someone who can come for about an hour once a week to sit down, to engage in conversation. As the relationship evolves, people then venture out and do activities together that they enjoy, whether it is just a short walk around the neighborhood. Sometimes people would love to get some fresh air, but they don't want to go out on their own. They would like to have a trusted friend to just go on that short walk with them. A volunteer can be that person. I have a match where I'm told that they are connecting around a very popular TV show, Love Island. And they are, yeah, I know. So there's a lot of good conversation around what's happening in Love Island. I have other matches where they might, at this point in their relationship, they maintain weekly contact, but they see each other every other week because they have longer visits. They might go to a museum or to a Dollar Tree store. I know of a match who's done that too. And they grab lunch and they just come back home. The idea is to make a new friend. And when you think about that, that's actually a very profound thought, that regardless of whatever stage of life you're in, we can all use a friend. And sometimes the volunteer is just somebody who's stepping into that role. I have a lot more stories to tell, but I'll stop here.
I'll ask Kyle because a big part of this is the volunteerism. Thank you for clarifying the commitment. So it's a 9 to 12 month commitment. And as human beings, I believe what I heard from you was the formality with FriendshipWorks is the 9 to 12 month commitment, with the hope that after those 9 months, because it's interesting. I like biblical numerology. And if you look at 9, it's the number of birth. If you look at 12, it's the number of like establishment, governmental. And so in those 9 to 12 months, you would hope that there's a birth to an established sort of a relationship to where it becomes informal, where maybe every couple of weeks you get a text, or maybe, reach out to for the holidays. So all of that does matter. And so thank you for clarifying that there is an expectation of a 9 to 12 month commitment. Kyle, what are some other things that we can hear about when it comes to volunteering? I presume there's a Corey Sorry because we're working with our elders. Then also, as Martha was mentioning, going out and lunch, the nonprofit guy in me immediately went to budget. So clarify for the volunteers whether, is there a little stipend for them to take the senior? It just crossed my mind. So I had to ask you.
Yeah. No, good question. So so it is important to highlight that all of our programs are free. They don't cost the older adult anything. Currently, we don't provide stipends, but we are really mindful. We have a new volunteer coordinator who's doing great work and appreciating the volunteers, so may not be putting money in their pocket, but we try to appreciate them with different events. Can I
interrupt for one thing? I definitely was not implying stipend for the volunteer. I meant more to take them to lunch, but not, no. This is definitely full volunteer, but I was more asking about, do they ever submit a receipt if they take them to lunch?
Yeah. But at the end of the day, it really just turns into a friendship. We know that quickly the relationship moves from this is my match or this is my volunteer to this is my friend. And they end up getting invited to holiday events, family outings, weddings, and so forth. So it really kind of grows into this beautiful relationship. And many of our matches on the friendly visiting side last well beyond that 12-month period. But that's the minimum requirement that we ask. And for medical escort, it's kind of an opt-in opportunity. So if you sign up to be a medical escort, once a month or give or take, you'll get an email saying, here are our monthly escorts that we need. Please sign up and register for which one works for you. And to be honest with you, in terms of volunteer recruitment, we are in because a lot of the medical or most of the medical appointments are during the day, we're always in dire need of volunteers that have daytime availability to accompany folks to medical escorts, including, all the neighborhoods that your audience members reside in. All throughout Boston, we're looking for those volunteers that have some daytime availability to help out with medical escort. And again, it's opt-in. If you're really busy or you're traveling for a couple of weeks, you don't have to take on a medical escort. So it's really nice, flexible opportunity there. And then our team, including Martha, does a fabulous job training and orienting our volunteers So they are required to go to a really in-depth hour to an hour and a half training. We do all the background checks, including Corey checks. We do reference checks. And on the other side of it, for older adults, any older adult that requests a friendly visitor from us, we do a home visit. And the initial intake happens in their home just to ensure that their home is a good place, safe space for an older adult to go into. So although the outcome and the product of our work is really simple, it's just creating meaningful friendships and connections, there's a tremendous amount of work that our friendly visiting coordinators and our other team members put into making sure that these matches are the right match, and they're incredibly thoughtful and intentional, not just based on geography and availability, but what are their hobbies, what are their similar interests? Because we want to make sure that these matches thrive and succeed over time. So our team is off the charts, dedicated, and really thoughtful and thorough in the matching process, which also includes the volunteer recruitment, going to events, opportunities like this to spread the word. And in terms of our budget, we have about a $1.8 million budget. As I mentioned, all of our programs are free. Therefore, the responsibility is on us and our partners to raise those funds to ensure that we're able to deliver these really meaningful and impactful programs in the community.
So Kyle, I'm just going to do one thing that I am known to do often. For those of you that want a direct connection to FriendshipWorks, I, on James's page and also, my personal page, and also Java with Jimmy, right now in the comments are active hyperlinks directly to the website is different, and it's fw4elders.org, but it is hyperlinked if you're watching on YouTube as well, and also on the James page on Facebook. And specifically, if you go there, I'm sure that they have on their page a donate button. So you may not be able to donate time, but you can. And I tell my audience all the time, Kyle, that, 20 people giving $5, 10 people giving $20, it does add up. So on the website that is hyperlinked, you can go and donate and get other information. Martha, as we get ready to wrap up before Kyle lets us know about something going on that you guys are sponsoring soon, if you could tell us quickly, what is the best way for folks to go to sign up to volunteer? Is it on the website? Is it preferably an email? What is the best way to folks to go and volunteer?
Yeah, that's a great question. The best way is to go to the website and click on that button that says volunteer, get connected. I do want to say very quickly, we're talking about older adults, and we gave you kind of a range, an age range for people that we work with. And this, I just want to clarify, being over the age of 60 or 55 and over is the threshold for being a program participant. That does not mean that you cannot be a volunteer. We have plenty, we have a healthy group of volunteers who are over the age of 60. So you might be listening to this going, well, that's not for me. I'm in my 60s, but I don't need anybody to come and visit with me. I can get out. I am active. I'm going to the Y, whatever. Well, then the call to volunteer is for you. And I do have program participants who have looked at me and said, listen, don't send me no little girl in here. I need a grown person to connect with. So
that's where the match comes into, and that's a huge responsibility. I wanted to ask one question, Kyle, as we get ready to wrap. We have people that life circumstances or whatever have maybe been accused of allegedly either, and this is a very pointed question, what opportunity do folks have that do have a criminal, reference to Corey Sorry, that do have a criminal record that may involve violence, a theft, or molestation? What is their opportunity to maybe volunteer? If they don't pass the Corey Sorry for match, are there volunteer opportunities in the office? I'll name one right now. In the winter, do they need to come and shovel at the office? And then in the summer, you know what I mean? Like, what are some maybe possible, other volunteers? And I would presume, because, we know the space, the Corey Sorries, you may have some discretion. Sir, thank you for asking that very May not. Oh, he clarified. What are opportunities that folks that may not have a criminal, if they have something on their Corey or sorry, how can, if they're able to, based on discretion, what are some opportunities that folks can volunteer? And even Father, Son, Holy Spiritual on Instagram, even if you did not, even if I didn't fully understand, I think that is a very valid question, because people, we all evolve, you know what I mean? So if you could answer that, Kyle, and then also tell us about the event coming up as well. And then we'll get ready to close out with both of you, just, encouraging folks to donate all year, and then with the event as well.
Certainly. I think it's a really important question, and our utmost commitment to the older adults is to ensure the safety for them in working in a very intimate one-to-one volunteer situation. So it's a different dynamic with when someone shows up to their home versus coming into an office. So we take the Corey and the background checks very seriously. However, as you know, we can use discretion, and we think about what may be different in someone's life now from when that situation took place. And if we can use discretion and have conversations around that, then, we can be, flexible in that space. So, it's not a hard no. I would encourage anyone to apply and go through the process, and then we'll see how things play out. But, certainly understand that people's lives change, including my own. I probably would not have passed a Corey check back in the day. And in terms of the event, so we are really excited. We're offering about 4 events a year right now. We try to make sure that all of them are different areas of Boston and Greater Boston. They have different thresholds and prices. So next Thursday, March 5th, we're super excited. We're partnering with Long Live Brewery in Roxbury and Feldman Presents. They actually, if folks haven't been there yet, it's super hype. Every Thursday night, they do a free jazz show at Long Live. It's tucked off of Hampden Street, so somewhat close to Nubian Square, kind of behind Orchard Gardens School and Orchard Gardens Housing Development. So they do a weekly jazz night, almost 6 to 9 p.m. free. We're partnering with them next Thursday. Our coworker, Sophia, who runs our MusicWorks program, she is a well-known artist who travels all over the world and performs, including spots here in Boston, like Grace by Nia, Uncommon, Esplanade. So she is performing, and her band will be performing, and we'll be there sharing information about FriendshipWorks, encouraging people to sign up and volunteer. But we're also using it as an opportunity to build community and thank our volunteers. So it's also a volunteer appreciation and donor appreciation event. But it's really an opportunity to bring folks together, learn a little bit about FriendshipWorks and MusicWorks, and listen to some off the charts and music from Sophia and her bandmates. So that's next Thursday, March 5th, Long Live Beer Works, roughly 6:30 to 9 p.m. and it's free.
I am excited to hear about. I used to work with Michael over at Feldman, nice. And this is Long Live Roxbury. We were partnered with them and promoting. I forgot what the manager's name was. Not Jessica. Who's the manager?
The co-owner is Jess. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. So we worked with them a couple of years ago, and I'm sure Leon, who inquired about the music opportunity, has been there as well. And so Jenny, who was asking, I put she's asking for the address. The link is active again. There are 2 links active across comments, which is one generally to FriendshipWorks, and then also to the exact event at Long Live Roxbury. And so I believe we got everything covered. Martha, what is it that you would say to folks that are listening, thinking about volunteering? On the website, you all, as soon as you go to the website, donate and volunteer, one of the first 4 options right there in wonderful colors. So those are 2 things I definitely want to encourage people to do. Martha, what are your closing remarks, and what would you say to the community in reference to supporting FriendshipWorks?
I would simply say, to take a minute to consider what a volunteer will mean for you, and what you will get out of this new relationship and involvement. I often hear from volunteers who are surprised by how much their lives are being enriched by this new relationship, by the new way of thinking about their own lives and their own choices, and how much they look forward to engaging with their friendly match or taking someone to a medical escort. So don't just think about this as a one-way transactional relationship. You, as a volunteer, will get so much out of this. We don't have time for us to tell you all about it, but trust us when we tell you. This will enrich your life in ways that you probably cannot even anticipate at this moment. And so come out next Thursday, have a chat with us, email us. We'd love to answer questions. If you're not sure, we're always available to have a conversation, to connect over video conferencing, whatever, and to just help you think through this. So just come on out.
Thank you, Martha, for that. One thing I want to volunteer before we go, and Kyle will have last words from you, is so Kyle, I'm in partnership with ABCD Health Services. You know, we're talking about this socialization, and some of our seniors are very social, intimately social. And I'm sure in the field that both of you work, you know that some number, Martha said, some numbers amongst our seniors are rising. And so, Kyle, if I will do my best to remember, one connection is with Leon. The other one is I wanted to connect you with the folks at ABCD, because maybe, Martha, this could be activity offered where they go in and do some sex education listen, it's needed. Kyle, I have a provider that Martha said, I have a provider that treated someone, I'll try to keep it as general as possible, treated us older adult with the same diagnosis 3 times in a senior. So I just, I'm sorry, it just crossed my mind. So I'll make sure that you guys get Martha.
Interestingly enough, our original name was Interfaith Matchup, and we pivoted to FriendshipWorks because of the confusion around being a dating service. So part of what you're saying is, reflects in our roots. But yeah, people have defined meaningful connections in many ways.
Kyle, that is that non-profity, a little political framing that you say it again. People have what? Found meaningful connections in me.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we're all about, like creating that volunteer and older adult connection in a platonic manner.
That was good. That was good clarity of closing remark. Kyle, my stomach hurts. That last couple of minutes there. We're making light of something very serious. One is sort of the platonic, intentional friendship, pen pal visitation, escort to the doctor's appointment, but also, to keep it simple. And I said this at a conference last week, Kyle, my mother was on a panel with me and this guy tried to holler at her. I said something and this dude said, "Oh, thanks for the hookup." And I'm looking at him and my mother. And what he said was, it made me come up with it made me think about the old statement. What is it? Just because there's no smoke. What is it? Just because there's snow on the roof don't mean the fireplace is out, or something like that. And so even that piece, as you said, very seriously, in meaningful ways. And just because our older adults are older, don't mean that they don't still have need and ability for intimacy. We just want to make sure that it's done safely. And so I'll make that connection as well, Kyle, with Maureen Scott over at ABCD, that this is maybe another service that could offer some training to the volunteers. So as they're forming the relationship, they can say, hey, even at your age, drop off a care packet. Martha and Kyle, like, Kyle and Martha, thank both of you for being here. I wanted to make sure that we ended on a very serious but light moment, because for a lot of our seniors, the isolation, the consideration of things, Martha, while you said this is a good experience, for some, it is a life change. And so I just wanted to make sure we lightened it a little bit for those that just may be thinking about a lot that was said today. So thank both of you for being here. Kyle, I'll share the information on my page about the event. Please tell Michael Feldman I said hello, and we'll talk soon. And I'll get you connected with Leon and Maureen.
Sounds great, man. Well, again, just really appreciate you inviting us on. Hope folks reach out to us. We need volunteers, and appreciate and want to lift up all the work that you do in the community as well. So thank you.
I appreciate it. And Martha, thank you for being here. Kyle and I go back, and I hope that you enjoyed being here today. And thank you for your passion and intentionality around our older adults. So folks, please make sure you go check out the information. Kyle and Martha, thank both. And Kyle, I want to say, and Father, Son, Holy Spiritual on Instagram, I hope that you heard what Kyle said, because Kyle, what he responded to and said, thank you. Some folks may have sold drugs in the past, got convicted, and are really good people. That's why I asked. So thank you for asking that question, because we don't know who wants to and feels that they can't because of. So thank you for I hope you heard his answer, you all. And I'll let you guys go. Thank you for being here, both of you.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you, man. We'll catch up soon in the neighborhood.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Folks, not just our seniors, but then also those that may care for our seniors. And Sister Debbie, I saw your question, and I believe Kyle did answer that. What did you say? What did you ask about the vetting? They are vetted, definitely now, you know, with so much going on. So they are vetted. Janky, I wish you was here for the whole thing, because I know you would probably know some folks, and you can go back and watch, but I know there's some folks that you work with that could maybe take advantage of this service. And then also, let's name the opportunity for volunteerism. All of us volunteer. A lot of people volunteer in their own ways and do different things. But if you're looking to volunteer, and if you have an affinity and love for elders, for our older adults, veterans, everybody has an affinity for folks. So please consider doing that. And I think that is it for me this morning. It is 10:48. We're going to wrap up. Shout out to everybody that was on Instagram. Shout out to everybody that's over here on Facebook. Before I go, if Dina Marshall Tarver is still here, I want to wish my niece, Anita, a very happy birthday. She's a great mom. She's a fashion mogul. She's a photographer. She's a model, a sweet and wonderful sister. She can get you together if she needs to. But Anita, I wanted to say happy birthday to you today. And we will pray and continue that your success is great. And you know, I could not let this day go by without, because when I seen it in the comments, I know Dina Marshall Tarver was going to get me. So thank all of you for being here today. Bellnell, what's up, brother? Good to see you. Hop over on Instagram real quick. Miss Teresa, thank you. Good to see you in the room. And we'll see you guys. What's today? Wednesday. We'll see you guys tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. And we may show some excerpts. If you're looking for the interview with the governor, it's not on here. It's over on YouTube. So let me drop that for you all real quick, because a few people have reached out. I saw the flyer. Where's the governor's video? I didn't see it. It's only on YouTube. And if you have not went to YouTube and liked and subscribed over there, I need you all to do that across all social media platforms, but especially go to YouTube and subscribe over there. I am going to put 2 links in the comments. One is I'm going to put one in the comments. From the video, you will be able to go and just hit the subscribe button to watch our conversation with Governor Maura Healey just last week. So here is the link to watch it on YouTube. Hey, Sharon, I saw you watched it, and I saw that you saw the governor's concern around me being unpartnered. That's the thing that I know a lot of y'all are going to go and watch, because the governor, she said, I asked her about, this is what happened. I asked the governor about, you know, self-care. And she said a few things, and then she said her partner. I forgot that we was in an interview and recording. When she said her partner, I said, you're so lucky to have a partner. And then she kind of looked at me and said, and I said, Governor, for me, dating in Massachusetts, and I think I said trash, was interesting. You know, she said, I don't know what you mean by that. And then she went into 2026 being my year. So go check that out. Most importantly, there's a lot of perspective that we get from her in reference. And she said these words: Black history will not be whitewashed in Massachusetts. She talked about social media, media literacy, and also affordable housing and immigration and ICE. So go check out that interview if you did not. I see a few folks have watched it. Thank you all so much. Unpartnered, leave me alone. All right, Miss T and everybody else, thank you all for being here today. And we'll see you tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. for some of that conversation. We'll talk to you soon. Peace, everybody.